to the show. I am Joe, your host, and welcome to this edition of Balderdash. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. The last couple of our episodes have been really good. I'm proud of you. It's either we're getting a lot of traffic going on YouTube, or you guys are out there and telling people about the show. Wherever it is, I'm glad that it's happening, and keep it up. I keep seeing the numbers go up, so let's keep doing that. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment. Make sure you go to Gateway Pro Productions on Facebook, Instagram at _Joe Show 20, TikTok at _Joe Show 20, Balderdash on YouTube, and Spotify, The Joe Show. We're getting ready to change that here pretty soon too, so just be on the lookout for that. But comment, like, and subscribe. I would love to hear more about what you think about the episodes. So it's Pride Month. Welcome Pride Month to all my prideful people out there, my brothers and sisters out there. Happy Pride Month. Now, it's just like Black History Month to me, right? It's very important. It's a very important issue to me, right? And it's just like we talked about in our Memorial Day episode. I think that it's really good for us to know the past so that we can create a better future, right, for the newer generation, okay? And that's what we're going to do in these episodes here. Or I've got like 2 episodes we're going to do for Pride Month. And we're just going to go back in the past, and we're going to look at some of these people and what they went through, right? So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn something, because, like I said, this is just going to really help the newer generation. It's kind of like what I say, Black history is American history. Gay history, well, I guess gay history is, it's not American history. I mean, but it is, because a lot of people that are part of the LGBTQ community, they are strong people, right? They are people who were big advocates, right, for rights of people, right? What I think I like about the LGBTQ community is that everybody sees them as outcast, right? And this community, even though the road is hard, they still stay true to themselves, right? They say, I don't care what you say about me. I don't care that this might not be the way that you think the world is, or this is not normal to you. I don't care, because what I'm doing for myself is making me happy, right? And that's what I like about the LGBTQIA plus community, right? They are really looking inside themselves and discovering who they are. That's why, you go like to Pride Fest, right? And everybody's just dressed so uniquely. People might think it's weird, but they're dressed so uniquely because there's a certain understanding. Like I talked about Pride last year. I said it was a utopia, right? Because you could go and dress the way that you wanted to dress, and everybody there at Pride understood the assignment. They were like, that's an interesting fit that they got on. It's not bad, but it's just interesting, And then I had something on, and I was dressed very interesting. But the one thing that we were all prideful, right? And so that's what I like about this community. Being part of the LGBTQ community and prideful is American, right? So I just think we're gonna go and talk about some of these people, right? And was the things they've been through, talk about some of the history. And the first people we have are Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera in the 1970s founded Street Transvestite Action Revolutionary, or STAR. The community was dedicated to sheltering young transgender individuals who were shunned by their families. They also began the Star House, where transgender youth could stay and feel safe. They recognized that many transgender individuals turn to sex work after being rejected by their families. Johnson and Rivera also saw that the individuals face additional hardships and dangers through being unsheltered. Now, because of Marsha and Sylvia, the first LGBTQ plus youth center in North America was opened, which made them not only trailblazers, but the first trans women of color to lead an organization in the United States, right? And so, one of the big things that I really wanted to talk about on here, maybe I should read our next person, but now before I get into them, even though I just talked about unity with the LGBTQ community, there is still a lot of segregation and separation in the community, right? Like, if you're gay, that's fine. If you're bi, people they're kind of like, decide. If you're lesbian, that's fine. If you're queer, that's fine. But when you get the T, that's where everything goes off the rails, right? And so there's a lot of separation when it comes to that. I feel like a lot of transgender people, they don't get the props or accolades that they deserve, because this is a hard thing, transitioning, right? You were something your whole life, and now you're transitioning to be something else, right? And people might think that it's weird. They might think that it's an easy road, because not only are you dealing with the physical changes, you are also dealing with the emotional and mental changes, right? Because people get outcasted, just like it said here. Like, people would come out and say, "Hey, you were born a male, but then you say I'm a female," and people didn't like that, so they would say, "Get the hell out of my house," right? And now these kids are unsheltered. These people are unsheltered. Where are they going to go? They're just going to, like they said, go into sex work, or they are going to be in more danger, right? Because not everybody sees eye to eye with a lot of transgender people, right? Even to this day, this was in the 70s, right? But today, some of that stuff is still happening, right? Why is there so much hate with it, right? That's what I want to know. Those are the questions I have with that. And if you would I would love to hear your comments. Like, why do you think there's so much conflict when it comes to trans people, right? If you're part of the LGBTQIA community, I want to hear what you think about it. If you're not, I also want to hear from you. We're going to have a good, nice conversation, right? So let's do it, right? So then I went down, and as I was reading that, I was just like, hey, who were the first transgender people to get full operations? Like, who were the first transgender people who just did the whole surgeries and everything? And I found two of those. I found the first trans woman and the first trans male. The first trans woman was Christine Jorgensen. Christine Jorgensen was an American singer, actress, recording artist, and transgender activist. She became the first person to become widely known in the United States after having sex rearrangement surgery. In 1945, Jorgensen was drafted into the U.S. Army during World War II. After the war, Jorgensen attended several schools and pursued photography. During this time, she learned about sex reassignment surgery, and she traveled to Europe. While in Europe, she obtained special permission to undergo a series of operations beginning in 1952. When she arrived back to the States, her transition made headlines in New York's Daily News. It was the front page story, and the publicity made her a celebrity. She was known for her directness and polished wit, and she used her platform to advocate for transgender people. Jorgensen highly publicized transition helped bring light to gender identity and shape the culture for more inclusive ideas about the subject. Christine saw herself as a founding member in what became known as the sexual revolution. Christine is inspiring, and she is very interesting. I found myself reading more and more, right? So I just really wanted to come on here and just kind of just do a just a quick right episode talking about these people, right? I didn't want to sit here and go through a whole biography because I kind of learned that with Black History. When we first did Black History Month, I did like a whole show worth of stuff. We just want quick. We want to give you some knowledge because I want you to hear these stories, and then I want you to go back and do a lot more research because, like I said, as I was reading these stories and trying to write this, I was like, man, I was just gathering so much information because I'm like, okay, this was the 1950s. Her operations began in the 1950s. So I wanted to know, how did they do things? Like, what surgeries did they do first? How did they go about doing it in the 1950s? Because now we have a lot more technology, right? And it just interested me. So I went down the rabbit hole way deep with these people. But with Christine's surgery and the transition, she wrote in her autobiography titled Christine Jorgensen, A Personal Biography, about the transition, right? And like I said, I was reading a lot more about that, but in her book, it goes even into more detail, right? But it was just very good. It was very good, and I think it's a very good, interesting read there. Now we have our first trans man, right? Lawrence Michael Dillon. Lawrence Michael Dillon was a British doctor, author, and the first transgender man to undergo phalloplasty, which I looked that up, okay? It's like the surgery of the penis, okay? I looked that up because I knew what that word meant, right? He was also the first recorded recipient of a double mastectomy for the purpose of gender reassignment. In 1946, his book titled Self, A Study of Ethics and Endocrinology, endocrinology is considered a pioneering work in the field of transgender medicine. As a surgeon, he performed the ophthalmology on Roberta Caldwell, the first British trans woman to receive male sex reassignment surgery. His transition became public when it affected his listing to the heir presumptive for the Dillon Baronetcy of Lismullen in Ireland. Okay, I don't know why there was. I write this stuff and then I take out big words and things like that, but still make it make sense because it's not that I can't sound them out. I just don't want to be doing it on video, right? And it's just sometimes my mouth don't want to work, and as you can see, it didn't want to work, right? But that was very interesting to me with Lawrence Michael Dillon. Like, the first person to get a double mastectomy, right? He was the first person to undergo surgery to get everything rearranged, right? To have a makeshift penis, right? So this is not an episode. This is like, there's some words you say that I just don't think are for kids. Like, I think this is a great topic for people to learn about because it's history, right? But just when you say like mastectomy, that's fine, But then you say like penis and everything, it's just like, should the kids watch this? Type of a deal. I don't know. But he was the first person to go through all of that. And then what I also found interesting was I was like, what is this, right? So basically, he was part of royalty, right? He was part of royalty. And because he transitioned, he lost his, like, basically his birthright to that royalty. So that was a big conflict in Ireland, and that's why he became famous, right? And I think these individuals are important people because they let the newer generation know that it's okay to go against the grain and to do what makes you happy, right? And the crazy thing about these stories in here is that when you read these articles and things about these people, a lot of them don't go tell you about the struggle that they had to go through, right? Just in these two, they were very positive, right? Christina Jorgensen, she became famous and became a celebrity, right? Michael Dillon, or Lawrence Michael Dillon, he's a doctor, right? He's a doctor. He's a author, and he was highly respected, even though he lost his throne or his he lost his seat to royalty, right? They were showing you that do what makes you happy, even if it's going against the grain, especially when you're not comfortable in your own skin, right? I've talked about this on the show. I cannot imagine, like, I'm comfortable in my skin, right? I think I have like that, just kind of like a lot of people where, there's some things you wish you could fix about your body. Maybe you need to lose a little weight. Maybe your butt too big. Maybe your butt too small. Maybe you're not tall enough. There's just stuff you want to fix about your body. But can you imagine you're just not, what you feel on the inside don't match on the outside? I can't imagine that because I'm so comfortable with who I am, right? I can't imagine that. So to be in a position where your insides don't match your outsides and you just don't feel comfortable in your own body, and then you hear about transitioning and you read about it and you do the research on it and you say, this is what I want to do, and then you transition or you start making the steps to transition, and as you're doing that, people are just like, that is weird, I don't like it, that's not normal, and they just kick you, right? Like, I just can't imagine that. It's already rough, right? That you have to be uncomfortable in a body that you're not comfortable with. You already got to be uncomfortable in that body, but now the world is making you uncomfortable, right? It's just crazy to me, right? Before I keep going on my tangent, let me finish reading what I wrote down, because when I write, I think it's bull crap if I read all this stuff and then I don't say none of it, right? But I didn't want to write a biography on these people. That's why I didn't include much here. I want you to be like me and do the research and discover the stories for yourself. I just said that already. See, I got that in my head. But I found the lives of Christine, Lawrence, Rivera, and Marsha very interesting, and I dove deep into it, and I hope you will as well, right? But it's just crazy to me that these people were so strong, right? They wanted to find a way to make themselves happy, and they did. And then they saw that other people were trying to do the same thing, and they were being kicked down, and they were being bullied and punished for it. And they saw that I have this platform here, so I'm going to help other people. I'm going to help other people be more comfortable or get to the point where they be. Whether that is housing them, whether it's that being an activist for them, or whether that's being a doctor and performing the surgeries for them. They are all helping these people, right? And I think it's kind of, the American way. Like, what makes you kind of an American? I think one thing that really makes a lot of people American is the fight, right? A lot of people have to fight for what they want, right? Black people have to fight for their rights. People in the LGBTQ community have to fight for their rights, right? They have to fight. Trans people right now are fighting to just live. There are a lot of people that are talking about, we just want to eradicate all of them because it's weird and we don't like it. Come on now. This is America. And I think these people out here are fighting for their lives. And if you support it, back them up. I think everybody should support it. You can what? What do I want to say? Because I like that with these certain issues, they're kind of touchy, and I make sure I get my wording right? You don't have to approve of what somebody does, but they're their own individual person, and they get to make their own decisions, right? That's what I think life is. Life is this big journey where we as people, we make decisions about how we as people want to live our lives. Do a lot of us make good decisions? No, but we have to live with the consequences. right? That's what I think. And with those consequences, we learn, right? We learn from that. And that's why, and history makes it 10 times easier, right? History makes it 10 times easier. I wish I might be a history. I'm going to go back to school and be a history teacher because how pumped I get. But history makes it 10 times easier because you can read stories like these people. And you can say, how did they get through it? How did they do it? You know, how did they fight? I'm going to take their tactics and use it for today so that I know how to fight the fight and get what I want, right? Because trans people, they just want to live. As we can see, it's all they want to do. So, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed doing the work here and looking up these people. I really hope you do enjoy them. And I hope you guys have a good Pride Month, right? If you don't want to delve into the parades and the Pride events, at least just go and talk to somebody, part of your LGBT community. And if you don't want to do that, how about you learn about them, right? That's one thing that I never understood as a Christian. You know, when I was a Christian, it was one of those things where we would talk about homosexuality and gay people all the time, but we never really got to learn about why they think the way that they do and why they do the things that they do, so that we could get a better understanding. Because I'm one of those people, like, if you got an enemy, you learn all that you can about your enemy and then you attack, right? So that was my tactic. That's what I thought. How about you learn as much as you can about these people and then use their stuff against them, you know? But I think the whole thing was they were afraid that they were going to talk to someone who was part of the community, and they were going to start to have compassion for these people because they're going to start to see things from their point of view. And you can see things from people's point of views even though you might not agree with it, right? I've got a lot of people in my life who I've told my situation and things like that, and they don't agree with it, but they like me as a person, and they still decide to be my friends and be around me. So we should take a lesson from that, right? So happy Pride Month. I thank you for watching the show. I thank you for listening to the show. Make sure you go to all those places and comment. I really want to hear from you. What do you think about this, right? Do you hate that I'm doing it, or do you love that I'm trying to get some history with these things, you know? I really want to hear from you. Make sure you go down there and comment. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share and tell other people about this, because that's how we're going to become bigger and better. So I hope that you go out into the world and you go do bigger and better things. And I will see you next week on Balderdash. Bye-bye, everybody.